Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Insight Room, where we understand the mind one insight at a time. Today, we're talking about ADHD, and more specifically, why ADHD can make simple tasks feel impossible. I'm talking about things like answering an email, putting laundry away, doing the dishes, making a phone call, starting paperwork, cleaning one room, or responding to a text message. From the outside, these tasks may look easy. Someone might say, just do it. It'll only take 5 minutes. But for many people with ADHD, the problem is not that they don't know how to do it or what to do. The problem is getting the brain to start, organize, prioritize, sustain attention, tolerate discomfort, and follow through long enough to complete that task. That is where executive functioning comes in. Before we get into it, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for mental health diagnosis, treatment, or individualized medical advice. If you are concerned about ADHD or any other mental health condition, please consider talking with a qualified healthcare professional. The ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. That name can be a little misleading because ADHD is not only about attention, and it's not always about being visibly hyperactive. Clinically, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder. That means it begins in development and involves differences in how the brain regulates attention, activity level, impulses, motivation, and behavior over time. ADHD can affect children, teenagers, and adults. 2024 review found that ADHD prevalence varies depending on how researchers measure it. Studies using medical records found lower estimate, about 1 to 2% of people, while survey and clinical studies are closer to about 4 or 5% of people. So, ADHD is common, but the exact number changes depending on the method used. That same review also described adult ADHD estimates that often fall around 3 to 4%, depending on the country and the method of the research. So, ADHD is not just a childhood issue. It can continue to affect adult functioning, especially in work, relationships, time management, organization, and daily responsibilities. A lot of the daily impairment in ADHD comes from something called executive dysfunction. Executive functioning is basically the brain's management system. It is the part of your mental functioning that helps you say, what do I need to do? What matters first? How do I start? How do I stay on task? How do I stop myself from getting pulled away? How do I finish this and move on to the next thing? So, when executive functioning is impaired, the person may understand the task perfectly, but still struggle to activate the behavior. That distinction is fairly important. ADHD is not usually a problem of knowing what to do. It's often a problem of activating, organizing, sequencing, and sustaining behavior long enough to do it. So, let's define a few parts of executive functioning in plain language. Task initiation means starting. Not thinking about starting, not planning to start, actually getting the body and brain to begin. This is where a lot of people with ADHD get stuck. They may stare at a task, feel overwhelmed, avoid it, or keep saying, I'll do it in a minute, I'll do it tomorrow. Working memory is the brain's mental sticky note. It helps you hold information in your mind while you use it. For example, if you walk into a room and forget why you went there, that is a working memory problem. If you start cleaning and then forget what you were originally cleaning, that can also involve working memory. Inhibition. This means the brain's braking system. It helps you pause before acting, resist distractions, and not immediately follow every impulse. For ADHD, inhibition can affect interrupting, spending, emotional reactions, checking the phone, or leaving one task to start another. Planning means figuring out the steps before doing the task. A task like clean the kitchen sounds simple, but it actually involves many steps. Clear the counters, throw away the trash, load the dishes, wipe the surfaces, sweep, put items away, decide when it's good enough. Prioritizing means deciding what matters most. For someone with ADHD, everything may feel equally urgent, and nothing may feel urgent until there is a deadline or a consequence. Cognitive flexibility means shifting gears. It is the ability to move from one task, idea, or plan to another without getting stuck. This matters because ADHD can involve both distractibility and difficulty transitioning. A person may jump between tasks too quickly, but also struggle to stop doing something stimulating once they're locked into it. Emotional regulation means managing the intensity and duration of emotional responses. This is why ADHD is not just an attention issue. Frustration, shame, rejection sensitivity, irritability, and overwhelm can all make task completion harder. Executive functions are often described as higher-level mental abilities that help us plan, organize, and control behavior to reach our goals. Research on ADHD frequently discusses inhibitory control, working memory, planning, emotional regulation, and cognitive flexibility as key areas involved in the condition. Let's take something basic, like doing the dishes. From the outside, that's one task. But inside the brain, it may require a whole sequence. You have to notice the dishes, you have to decide that they matter, you have to stop what you're currently doing, you have to tolerate the boredom of the task, you have to remember the steps. You have to start with one dish, you have to avoid getting distracted, you have to keep going when it feels tedious, you have to fully complete or finish the task. Then you have to transition to whatever comes next. That is not one step. That is a chain of executive functions. For a person without ADHD, that chain may happen automatically. For someone with ADHD, the chain may break at several points. They may notice the dishes but not start. They may start but get distracted. They may wash half of them and leave the rest. They may intend to come back and then forget. They may avoid the task altogether because it's become associated with shame. That is how a simple task becomes cognitively and emotionally complicated. One confusing part of ADHD is that people may struggle to start a task for days, then suddenly complete it right before the deadline. That can look like laziness from the outside, but clinically, urgency can temporarily increase activation. A deadline creates stimulation, it creates pressure, it makes the consequence immediate. For many ADHD brains, immediate pressure is more activating than distant importance. So, the person may not be choosing to wait until the last minute. The task may not feel neurologically online until the urgency is high enough. But urgency is not a great long-term strategy. It can work in the short term, but it often creates a cycle of procrastination, panic, exhaustion, guilt, and burnout. Urgency can temporarily replace executive function, but it's not the same thing as healthy executive functioning. Treatment for ADHD is not usually about one single strategy. The research generally points to a few different categories of support. Medication can help reduce core ADHD symptoms like inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. Psychological interventions can help people build skills around planning, organization, emotional regulation, and task follow-through. Some studies have been looking at digital tools, serious games, exercise-based interventions, multimodal treatment, meaning medication plus psychological or behavioral support. A 2024 review of executive function interventions found the most common approaches included psychological interventions, medication, digital interventions, multimodal treatment, and exercise. Psychological interventions included things like cognitive behavioral strategies, mindfulness-based approaches, executive function training, parent training, cognitive training, and neuropsychological interventions. Medication studies include stimulant and non-stimulant medication approaches. The overall finding in that article was not that one approach fixes everything. Instead, different interventions appeared to help different parts of executive functioning, especially working memory, inhibition, and cognitive flexibility. In everyday language, that means treatment may help the brain's mental sticky note, its braking system, and its ability to shift gears. It is about reducing symptoms, building external structure, practicing executive function skills, and creating supports that make daily functioning more realistic. Now we need to talk about shame, because for many people with ADHD, the task itself is only part of the problem. The other part is the emotional history attached to the task. If someone has spent years being called lazy, irresponsible, careless, messy, immature, too much, not trying hard enough, or not living up to their potential, then everyday tasks can start to feel threatening. The task is no longer just answer the email. Now it's answer the email while also feeling guilty that you did not answer sooner. Answer the email while worrying the person is upset with you. Answer the email while telling yourself that you're irresponsible. Answer the email while remembering every other time you've fallen behind. That emotional load makes the task even harder to start. One qualitative study of 162 adults with ADHD or high ADHD traits found that criticism was often connected to behaviors like organization, time management, impulsivity, forgetfulness, focus, and inattention. These are not random character flaws. These are closely related to executive functioning. That same study discussed how people may cope with criticism by hiding ADHD symptoms, avoiding situations, working excessively hard to compensate, or changing their environment to reduce criticism. That matters because shame usually does not improve executive functioning. It often makes avoidance stronger. ADHD is not the same as laziness. This is one of the most important points. Laziness usually implies that someone does not care and does not want to make an effort. But many people with ADHD care deeply. They may care so much that they feel distressed, embarrassed, or demoralized by their difficulty in completing tasks. The issue is often not desire. The issue is inconsistent access to activation, attention, inhibition, working memory, and emotional regulation. That's why someone with ADHD may be able to do a difficult task that's interesting, urgent, novel or new, rewarding, but struggles to do an easy task that's boring, repetitive, vague, or emotionally loaded. Difficulty does not always match the objective size of the task. Sometimes it matches the executive function demand of the task. Treatment for ADHD can include medication, therapy, skills-based interventions, environmental supports, and sometimes newer technology-based approaches. The best plan depends on the person's symptoms, medical history, age, impairment level, side effects, and goals. Medication can be very helpful for many people. Stimulant medications are often considered first-line treatments. A 2022 review noted that about 70% of patients responded to psychostimulant medication. In plain language, that means about 7 out of 10 people may experience meaningful improvement, though not everyone responds the same way. Non-stimulant medications, such as atomoxetine or guanfacine, can also be helpful, especially when stimulants are not tolerated or not the right clinical fit. The research summarized here does not give a simple response percentage for non-stimulants, but it does show meaningful effects for atomoxetine and guanfacine. Generally speaking, stimulants tend to have the strongest short-term evidence, while non-stimulants remain important options for many people. Medication is not the same thing as having a system. Medication may help attention, activation, and impulse control, but many people still need help with planning, organization, time management, emotional regulation, and follow-through. That's where therapy and skills-based interventions come in. These can include cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based strategies, executive function coaching, organization skills training, parent training for children, DBT-informed emotional regulation skills, and neuropsychological interventions. These approaches often focus on making life more structured and manageable. The goal is not just to understand ADHD. The goal is to function better with ADHD. Environmental support is also important. If working memory is the brain's sticky note, then external reminders are literal sticky notes. If time awareness is impaired, then timers, calendars, alarms, and visual clocks are external time supports. If task initiation is impaired, then body doubling, accountability, and making the first step smaller can reduce the activation barrier. For ADHD, the goal is often to externalize the executive functions that are difficult to manage internally. There are also newer interventions being studied, including neurofeedback, brain stimulation, serious games, and digital therapeutics. Neurofeedback is a method where someone gets real-time feedback about brain activity and practices changing that activity. Some versions use EEG. Other newer versions use functional MRI or near-infrared spectroscopy. Brain stimulation approaches include things like transcranial magnetic stimulation, transcranial direct current stimulation, and trigeminal nerve stimulation. These are non-invasive methods that attempt to influence brain activity. Digital therapeutics and serious games use structured technology-based tasks to train attention, inhibition, working memory, or other executive functions. These approaches are interesting, and some may become more important over time, but the evidence is still developing. Many studies are small, use different methods, measure different outcomes, and need stronger long-term research before we can make any firm conclusions about what works best, for whom, and for how long. So, practically, ADHD treatment often works best when it is multimodal. That means combining symptom treatment with real-world supports. Routines, reminders, visual cues, body doubling, reduced friction, emotional regulation strategies, and accountability without shame. Here are a few ADHD-friendly strategies that match the executive function problem. First, make the task smaller than you think it needs to be. Not clean the kitchen. Start with put 5 dishes in the dishwasher. Second, define the first physical action. Not work on paperwork. Try open the laptop and find the document. Third, use external reminders. Do not rely on your memory. Use alarms, notes, calendars, visual cues, or checklists. Fifth, reduce shame language. Instead of saying, I'm lazy, try, I'm having trouble initiating. Instead of saying, I'm irresponsible, try, I need a better external system. That may sound small, but language does matter. Shame tends to increase avoidance. Accurate language makes problem solving a lot easier. Sixth, create accountability without humiliation. Support works better when it's structured and non-judgmental. Criticism may create short-term pressure, but it often worsens avoidance and self-worth over time. Seventh, reduce friction. Put the laundry basket where you actually take off your clothes. Keep cleaning supplies visible and accessible. Use autopay for bills when appropriate. Put important items near the front door. Break clean the room into throw away trash for 3 minutes. The smaller the starting step, the less activation energy that task requires. Eighth, pair boring tasks with stimulation. Many ADHD brains struggle with low stimulation tasks, so pairing a boring task with stimulation can help. That might mean listening to music, a podcast, an audiobook, or using a timer challenge. The point is not to make the task perfect. The point is to make the task doable. So, why does ADHD make simple tasks feel impossible? Because many simple tasks are not actually simple for the brain. They require task initiation, working memory, inhibition, planning, time awareness, emotional regulation, and follow-through. For someone with ADHD, one or more parts of that system may not activate consistently. That does not mean the person is unintelligent. It does not mean that they don't care. And it does not mean that they are simply lazy. It means the task may require more executive functioning than it appears to require from the outside. And once shame, criticism, and avoidance get attached to the task, it becomes even harder. The goal is not to shame yourself into functioning. The goal is to understand the mechanism, treat the symptoms when appropriate, and build external supports for an internal regulation problem. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, consider liking, commenting, or subscribing, and I'll see you next time in the Insight Room.